Mr. Schneider, welcome to the Arab American News.
Thank you so much, Osama.
We've been really looking forward to this conversation and to your visit.
Yes.
And we appreciate the time that you have given us. And I know that you have been really looking forward to meet with the community and to be introduced to the community. And I've heard you on several occasions talk about that your willingness, and not only willingness, but your focus is on the communities, all the communities. You wanted to continue the outreach that your predecessor started, Barbara McQuaid. So can you tell us a little bit about, what are you looking for as far as communicating with the community?
Absolutely. So, as you know, Barb McQuaid did a fantastic job of community outreach. She was very actively engaged in the community. She's a very vibrant person and very smart, of course. And so what I would like to do is to continue along with that mission, is to reach out to the community and have dialogue. Because if we don't do that, we're going to have some serious problems. We have a lot of significant issues in this district, in the Metro Detroit area. And I want to be accessible to people in the community, and I want to be able to be out and about. And if I'm not, somebody from my office should be there.
Well, let me just say that my experience with you when we were having a farewell dinner for David Julius,
Yes.
the former special agent in charge in Detroit. And you came in and you were new in the office, and I was so impressed because you stayed more than you said that you were going to stay, and you insisted on going around and shaking everybody's hands. Sure. As if that you were running for office.
I'm not.
But I was very impressed because you were you were trying to reach out and say, here I am accessible. And I know that you have said in the first day in your office, you called me. Yes. And you called other people as well in order to reach out and to say that I'm here and I am.
Yes.
I have an open door policy to the community like Barb McQuaid had. Our community is very nervous, Matthew, because the Trump administration have made several steps, that makes people very nervous, especially in the immigrant community and the Muslim and the Arab community. What can you say to the community to calm their fear?
So there's a difference, I think, between what we read in the national news and what we read in the local news. And there's lots of different issues in the national news about immigrants' rights, etc. There's also lots of good things that we're doing here in the local community. And what my message is that I am going to reach out to the community, but I need them also to reach back to us and to explain to the law enforcement community in Detroit what the concerns are. I can tell you that one of the very first things I did was I made some calls as soon as I became the U.S. Attorney, and I made some calls so that I could go and visit and have a tour of the Arab American Museum here in Dearborn. Mm-hmm. And I did that, and it was a fantastic experience. Because that's part of our engagement. I would like to go out and I want to meet with folks so that they feel comfortable, that at least they have somebody that they could speak with. Right. If people are concerned, they can at least access their law enforcement partners.
Well, our community is concerned, and one of their concerns is the immigrant community feel like threatened right now by the laws and by the executive decisions that were taken by the president. Now we have immigrants who are in jail, who are in prison, actually detained by ICE, and they're waiting deportation. The Supreme Court came out with a decision that they can't even appeal, their presence or their detainment, even it's past 6 months. Mm-hmm. So they're more afraid today than they were afraid a few days ago.
Right.
I talked to you earlier about this, and you said that the U.S. Attorney really does not deal with these issues.
A lot of issues like that we might not have any involvement in. For example, administrative removals of folks who might be here unlawfully. That's not something our office is actively engaged in. What my focus is right now, my priorities for our office are violent crimes, gangs, corruption, and terrorism. And so that's something that communities are concerned about as well. We need safe neighborhoods. We want to make sure gangs are not in our communities. And everybody in this Metro Detroit area should have reason to be concerned about that as well.
Well, you talked about terrorism, and as you know, there are two lists that they have been there for a while, even during the Obama administration. The no-fly list and the terrorist watch list, or the secondary, they call the secondary watch list.
Sure.
So those two lists, the two lists that one of them is the no-fly list, which is, more severe. But actually, in my opinion, and the way I've seen it from people who travel a lot, the people who are on the secondary list, the terrorist watch list, is more severe, because it hampers their travels, even if they're business people. They are traveling, and sometimes they miss their flight, they miss meetings. And the biggest problem that they have is it's very easy to get on this list, the terrorist watch list.
Right, but how do you get off?
But how do you get off?
Right.
So is there anything that you can talk about this? Is there anything that, like you can do as a U.S. attorney to start maybe raising this issue with your superiors at the Department of Justice to address this issue? Because there is something that's called an application that you file online, and it's called TRIP, and it's supposedly this TRIP file application that goes into the system, and the 18 agencies or 20 agencies that we have, they go through it and they clear you. But I have not seen anyone that has gone through this process that has been cleared.
Sure.
The only people that I know that they have been cleared are people who have sued the federal government.
And that's not easy. That's not easy to do.
It's not easy.
Right. So there has to be a process here. Now, Osama, as you know, I've been in my office about 6 weeks, right? So I've only been the U.S. attorney for a small amount of time.
Right. But we demand a solution.
Right.
Within 6 weeks.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is exactly the type of conversation we need to have. Because yes, I can reach out to our law enforcement partners. I can speak to the heads of the FBI or the INS. We can have that dialogue. But until you and I have spoken about this today, no one else had really raised this issue to me before. And that's why we have to have this conversation. So with process, there must be a process to get on these lists. And you would think that there must be a process to get off the lists. And I care a lot about transparency and openness. We should explore this a little bit and find out what is this process, how can we navigate that, and how can we work with the community to try to find some solutions.
Actually, I was informed, and you just told me that you have appointed the second person after your assistant, your immediate assistant.
Yes.
Is, what's her name?
Her name is Saima Mohsen.
Mohsen.
Yes.
Is she a Muslim?
I don't know if she would want me to disclose that or not, so you can ask her that question.
It's very obvious, but so you started your tenure there by appointing supposedly a Muslim as the second person in charge.
Yeah,
at
she's
the US
my
Attorney.
right hand in that office.
Okay. She took the place of Dan Lemish.
That's correct.
Who left the U.S. Attorney's office.
That's correct.
And another thing that I would like to talk to you on, on the camera before we go into other stuff. Since Barb McQuaid became the U.S. Attorney, we have seen 3 Arab Americans joining the U.S. Attorney's office. Abed Hammoud and Manda Jawad, and there is a third person that is, his name is not with me right now. We would like to see this trend continues by hiring more Arab Americans in order to reach out. And probably, in my opinion, this is the best outreach you can make, because now they're at your office.
Yes.
You can always call on them and say, tell me about this.
Right, certainly. So here's the rule in hiring, at least as I see it. Number one is we hire the best. We do not hire people directly out of law school. We hire people with a broad range of experience to be prosecutors and enforcers and defenders of the law. And we hire folks that are outstanding. So Amanda Jawad, right? She's outstanding. You know, Abed. These are outstanding people.
We have a list of outstanding.
I bet, absolutely.
Just let me know, because
share it with me.
I have abundance of outstanding lawyers. I mean, our community, if you stand on the street right here and reach, you know, the first person walking, ask him what's your education? Tell you, I'm a lawyer.
Yes, right.
So there are lots of lawyers.
You know, when you drive down the street right here, I've seen so many signs for law offices. There's law offices all over.
And there are some brilliant lawyers in our community, and absolutely they will be very impressive. You know, they have impressive resume, and I'm sure you will like to add them to your staff.
We have an open application process, so if anybody's interested, we're happy to accept applications.
Well, Matthew, I wanted to ask you, our final question in here is, what would you like to say to the community, you know, again, first to calm their fears and then to extend your hands to them? You can look at the camera.
Absolutely. So, as the United States Attorney, some folks don't realize, I think, what our mission is. And we have certain priorities. On the criminal side, our office provides support to prioritize prosecution of crimes. My priorities are violent crime, gangs, corruption, and terrorism. Now, those are our criminal priorities, but we also have civil priorities. And the priorities of this office will be protecting and defending civil rights. And that has been the case in the past under Barb McQuaid, and we will continue to do that because it's our mission. We've taken an oath to the Constitution and to the laws of the United States, and those laws include protection against discrimination from people, and that's something that we intend to do.
Well, I wanted to thank you for coming to the Arab American News and allowing us to have this discussion. I wish you the best of luck, and I can tell you that that your hand, when you stretch them out to this community, you're going to find so many hands stretching back to you.
I hope so.
And reaching out and having a very good relation. I wanted to continue to have a good relationship with you, and I'm sure that the rest of the community the same.
And it's
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Osama.
Matthew.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Likewise.